The Fens are a unique low-lying landscape in eastern England, known for their fertile soils, rich wildlife and intricate networks of waterways. Amid growing climate pressures, Future Fens Integrated Adaptation is a strategic partnership focused on building resilience and adapting the fens through cross-sector collaboration.
Future Fens Integrated Adaptation is a cross-sectoral partnership looking at how we can deliver for communities and the environment across the fenland landscape. We have a fantastic opportunity to draw together a range of different stakeholders who can help us support and deliver a broad range of benefits for the communities and the environment across the fens. So the Tyndall Centre are an independent organisation based out of the University of East Anglia. Their focus is on climate science and understanding climate science. What we've done through Future Fens Integrated Adaptation is ask them to look specifically at the fens and undertake a climate change risk assessment just for that landscape. And so what's clear from the report is that for us to be able to adapt to a changing climate, we need a mosaic of approaches that can only be delivered by a range of different stakeholders, not just within the water sector, but beyond the water sector.
The Fens Climate Change Risk Assessment really highlights the sort of diverse nature of risks and also the diverse nature of different stakeholders and communities that will be impacted and affected by these risks in the future. The risks we face today, but also how significant some of these risks may be for the region, even with 2 degrees of warming, which we could see as early as the 2030s or 2040s based on our current trajectories of emissions. If we look at trajectories where we hit 4 degrees by the end of the century, which are still plausible, it makes the challenges of trying to adapt and cope with risks even more challenging and in some cases potentially unmanageable for the fens. The key aim from it is to really get people to understand what these risks are and how they're interrelated and interact across the different risks and across different sectors, and to come together and work towards sort of adaptation strategies or plans as a group to try and develop the best path forwards given these sort of diverse risks.
The Fens Climate Change Risk Assessment has for the first time really highlighted the urgency of the need for us to consider how we're going to deal with the impacts of climate change in the fens. It's given us a timescale to respond to, so it's demonstrated to us that we've got a much more urgent need to respond and that we need to be working now to manage the impacts of a 2-degree rise. I would like this to be the start of a conversation on really truly considering how we work together to respond to the risks of climate change in the fens. And actually it's also demonstrated to us that we can't just manage it in our silos, that the Environment Agency can't respond to that risk alone. We need to be working in partnership. We need to be managing both the risks of flooding alongside the risks of drought, alongside the risks of biodiversity loss. And we need to be considering solutions which can jointly respond to those risks.
The fens were first drained by the Dutch. Vermeuden's work was ambitious in its own way back in the 16th, 17th century. We're now replicating that level of ambition and tackling issues like the climate, tackling the issues of skill shortages, tackling poverty, tackling challenges that have been long in the area of the fens. Some of the things that we've found in the work that we've done with the Combined Authority is recognising how inequality is very present, particularly around, in my area as a doctor, health inequality, access to education and indeed employment opportunities. Add to that the challenges that rural communities in the fens often had in terms of accessing good quality, reliable public transport. We're trying to make a big difference. Again, it's a mayoral priority to focus on that, but also do it in a sustainable and responsible way, taking into consideration how the decisions that we make in public policy can also affect the environment and doing it right. It's always about the ambition and it's about the belief of the people that live there and making a change for their lives, for the better of the whole of Cambridge and Peterborough and indeed for the whole of the United Kingdom.
Given this report, given how clear it is about what the future might possibly be, No one's going to thank us in 20 years' time if nothing gets done in response. So Future Fens Integrated Adaptation is really important for the partners to come together to collectively think about how we're going to make sure that we can secure a vibrant future for the Fens, despite the challenges as well as the opportunities of climate change. The evidence is really, really clear. It's really well kind of synthesised and put together for policymakers to take action, and now it's time for that action to take place.
So this is the whole, climate change is impacting the Fens right now. We're seeing that from the recent wet winters that we've had and the impact that's had on people and infrastructure across the Fens. We can't sit around and do nothing, and what this report is showing us is that the risks are coming, and they're coming really fast, and we need to start thinking about how we're going to adapt to a changing climate now. We can't wait. I'm really optimistic that we can make a difference across the Fens. The work we're doing through Future Fens Integrated Adaptation will help communities and the environment to thrive, to be more resilient and be prepared for a changing climate.